Hi guys!
Hello everyone and welcome to Vines on the Track. So you are joining myself, Ben and Rob, this evening on a spooky evening as we get towards Halloween season. So we just wanted to provide you with some facts about an RIP tour, which takes place at Universal Studios both in Orlando and in Hollywood. We're going to give our version of events from the Hollywood event, but also you can do it in Orlando as well. So RIP Tour, what is it and what is included? So an RIP Tour is simply a VIP experience for horror nights. But obviously because we are in spooky season, they adapted it very cleverly to call it RIP rather than VIP. And it simply means that you get unlimited express passes to the rides and attractions. After you've done the haunted houses, you skip the queue in a designated RIP lane. You get a food and beverage lounge, a RIP I should say, host, and anything else to add on that, Rob?
You also get a cool lanyard.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of photo opportunities that you wouldn't otherwise get, and there's also a few scare zones that you can only go through if you're part of the tour. So it's a pretty cool experience.
RIP Tour, you go through your own designated entrance. They stop everybody from going in, so they maximize the scares just for this RIP Tour, and you are escorted straight to the front. You can wave bye to everybody else because you are going to be right at the front of that queue, and you whiz through them, but it doesn't feel too quick because you've got your tour guide with you, who, by the way, gives you a little synopsis of every house before you go in, which I think is great because you kind of hear a little bit of background. Maybe that's on the TV show, the movie, the making of the maze, anything like that. Your tour guide is a wealth of knowledge, or has a wealth of knowledge, and will provide that before going into the house. So it's a fabulous perk.
I would also just point out as well that with the RIP Tour, you also get unlimited fast track access to all of the houses after you've done your tour. So once we've been around all of the houses with our tour guide, we then could choose what we wanted to go back to. And in addition to that, you also get fast pass on the rides and attractions. So we got to fast pass the Mummy and Jurassic World River Adventure. It's not called River Adventure, is it?
No, just Jurassic.
Jurassic World. Obviously, the whole point of this video is to tell you whether we think it's worth it or not.
Yeah.
So you get quite a lot, as Ben said, for the money, and we have got lots of footage to include in this video to show you what we got. In terms of pricing, we paid around £400 per person in a group of 5 of us for our experience. And there is a calendar on the Universal Studios Hollywood website, and that gives you an indication of the peak days and the off-peak days, and the prices do fluctuate depending on the day and I believe the time of the tour as well. Absolutely. So obviously we can't give you a specific price. You'll have to look that up for the dates that you're looking for.
Typically though, if you do go earlier in September when the event starts, or late August for the Orlando version, it is technically a little bit cheaper than going, nearer to the Halloween date itself.
And we went last year for the actual 29th.
Yeah, I believe it was, yeah.
So once we booked our tickets, we got this QR code on our phones, which we were to show when we enter the park. Now, bear in mind, it doesn't include day entry into the park. So your RIP ticket is only covering your admission into Universal Studios Hollywood for the evening of the Halloween Horror Nights event. Yeah. So if you have an annual pass or a ticket to enter in the day, you can do that, and then you can go to the RIP lounge where you'll be able to wait after park close before the evening event of Halloween Horror Nights opens up, but it doesn't include access for the day.
So what we're going to talk to you about now is the arrival experience. So as I mentioned earlier on, you do have your own lounge access as such, and this is your RIP check-in location. So in Hollywood, it's in one of the buildings just beside guest services, and as the video will show now, you go up the staircase and it's got some cool artwork on the wall from artifacts from E.T. and all the old Universal classic movies. As you can see here.
Some cool Hitchcock stuff as well.
Yeah, you know me with my Hitchcock. So yeah, you walk up the top of the stairs, and then when you reach the top level, they've got all the bottles of water there on the side, which are complimentary, and you can take as many as you like. So once you do arrive into the lounge itself, you are then greeted by your host for the evening. They encourage you to obviously have some refreshments while you wait for the rest of the party to arrive. Typically, I'd say a party size, was it about 10 in our
I think
group?
it was 10. Yeah, it was 10. And just bear in mind as well, at this point, this is where you're going to get your cool lanyard.
Yeah,
which
it's cool.
It's so cool. And I'll wear that even with my park tickets in when I go to Epic Universe or to Hollywood Studios on other days. But you get all that kind of stuff at that point. And it's a really good point for you to ask any questions that you might have to your host. They'll explain how the evening's going to run, and again, the running order of the evening is going to depend on the specific time that you took your tour. Now, there will be lots of different groups, so at the time slot that we went, there were other parties who had a time slot that was either just before or just after ours, and there was also another group who had a time slot the same as ours, but they had a different host. So at this point, you'll all rendezvous together, you'll get to meet your host, they'll normally crack some jokes. A lot of them have been actors in the past.
Yeah, I was a scare actor before, and we'll have to try and remember his name. If we can remember it, we will put it down below.
He was really good.
Brilliant.
It's bad that we can't remember his name because he was really good, but it has been nearly a year.
It's nearly a year.
It's nearly a year, and we meet a lot of people. But yeah, the actual next section. So once we had checked in, we got to sit and just really take in the vibes as we waited for our tour to start.
And do you know what's really cool? Actually, you're on a balcony, and it overlooks the entrance to Universal, because as I said, it's at the guest services. And if you watch my previous vlog, I kind of pointed up to where it is. So if you haven't already checked out the Universal Hollywood 60th celebration video, if you watch the start of that, you will also see it on there. But yeah, you get a really good view of the park entrance, and they do the ceremonies. And obviously, if you time it right with your tour, you can actually watch the opening ceremony there. So the reason we chose the time of the tour that we went with was to really maximize that day. And I think, you know, for some people, they may want to do it a little bit later because they don't want to do any of the haunted houses
or
in the dark.
Especially if you're coming from like work or something.
Yeah.
You know, we had the whole day, so we bought a day ticket and we did the day in the park first. But I think, yeah, for a lot of other people, it would be more suitable for them to go later in the evening.
Definitely.
We'd also only got into the US the day before, so we were kind of on that in-between time zone. We hadn't quite adapted to West Coast. For us, it's -8 hours. So it suited us to go earlier because by late in the night, and we actually had done Halloween Horror Nights at Orlando the previous year, and luckily we had a fast pass for everything because we wouldn't have lasted the night because we were so tired.
No,
so if you're coming from the UK, do bear in mind that you've got to factor in your jet lag.
Absolutely. So 5-hour time zone difference for Orlando, 8-hour time zone difference for Los Angeles. Can be 7 sometimes in October, depending on that daylight savings, but do factor that in. So once you have met your host, the first thing on the tour itinerary typically is the dinner experience. And in here, I will pass over to Rob, who's going to talk a little bit more about the dinner experience.
So the food experience was pretty cool. So we walked through the park from the initial entrance where the rendezvous point is by the guest services, and you walk through the park, past all the merch stores and everything, to come to the Parisian section of the park, and that is where we went to the restaurant bar.
And it offers absolutely amazing views of Hollywood. Like, it's unreal. So
it's so incredible, and you've literally got skyline views. You can see all the lights twinkling down in the valley. It's
and
really,
this is
really
places
cool.
that, you know, the normal guest would not see. So for that in itself, it's absolutely brilliant.
This is unique access that you get only with the RIP. So as you come into the restaurant, you'll see lots of round tables, and beyond that sort of main restaurant area is the lounge where you will get all of the food. And it's a buffet style, so you get a plate and you'll queue and you'll make your way around. There is also, on a decking outside where we got those amazing skyline views, there is some outdoor seating. Now that's where our party chose to eat because we wanted to be outside. Obviously it could be a bit fresh, so make sure you have a sweater.
And the scare actors too were there.
Yeah, they certainly were. In terms of the quality of the food and the range of food, we are very fussy eaters. If you watch any of our vlogs, we like your typical American, straightforward food like chicken tenders, pizza, tacos, and burgers. But there was quite a range. There were salad items. There was like hot food that we had steak.
Yeah,
we had potatoes. There was pasta. Lots, all the typical things that you would imagine to be at a buffet, but also some things that really surprised me. Yeah. And the best thing is the dessert.
So nice.
So they're all themed, which is amazing. So they're all really yummy as well, and I definitely had more than my share.
They were like Beetlejuice colour, weren't they?
Yeah, there was
brilliant.
The
green
and black cookie. Be warned, it has got food colouring in, so you may have issues in the days after your tour with the food colouring. But they were like things like shaped like eyeballs, and there was the Chucky,
the
knife thing, because there was the Chucky house. So it obviously depends on the theming that they're going with for that HHN. But it was really, really cool. You can go up multiple times as well, so you can keep going up and around. So also, in addition to the food, there is a beverage service there available where you can get more bottles of water. They also have soft drinks like sodas and stuff. I don't recall there being any alcoholic beverages included, but I'm pretty sure there was an option to buy those if you wanted to.
Well, with that, which we'll come on to a little bit later, there was a bar at the time, so the theme for that year, there was a Chucky sort of bar area and everything, but there was the Peacock bar because Peacock was promoting the TV series Chucky at the time, and that was down on the lower lot, and that's where we got a VIP entrance to have alcoholic beverages if you wanted that, so that was a real perk.
Yeah, absolutely. But in terms of value for money, that section was absolutely so worth it.
Yeah.
We all had something that we liked. We all got to enjoy the Halloween theme and all of that kind of stuff.
Great toilets there too.
Yeah, and then we were ready. So the next step was our guide with a big light beacon would guide us through the crowds, because by this point, it's busy.
Very busy. And bearing in mind, with the bar and lounge, there is a scare zone in the Parisian area. So you are right into the thick of it straight away. Jumping out of you.
You walk out of there with a full tum-tum and you are in HHN super mode. So after we come out of the food, you are straight into the thick of it with the Halloween zone. In the scare zone. And this is where your value for money really kicks in. So as soon as we came out of the food, we were taken with the guide, with the speaker, and he took us straight down to the lower lot.
He did. Again, difference between Hollywood and Orlando. Hollywood, you actually get on a VIP trolley. So if you've ever done the studio tour in Hollywood, you'll know that you go on a tram. For the RIP tour, very similar to their VIP tour they offer for daytime guests, you get your own private trolley, which is even better because you don't have to faff with the escalators to take you down to the lower lot. It is brilliant. You are escorted with your party down, and then you're right into the thick of going into those houses.
So straight away we were escorted into the first house, and again we were given an option of where we'd like to go first.
Yeah, you pick where you want to go. Obviously there is a few of you in the group, so you've got to be mindful that a lot of people have different opinions.
And the host will give their input as well into that. Yeah. So what they recommend, there's a cycle, like with any theme park visit, there's always a good route to follow, and that's what we were advised. So we went with the flow, and we started to tick off the houses, and very quickly, I think in quick succession, we did 3 houses.
Oh, easily.
And we were like, wow, okay, we've already done 3 houses in like this time. Next up was our Terror Tram experience.
Yeah.
And this is, again, I keep saying it, but it's another thing where the perks just keep rolling.
Yeah.
So you get taken down to the Terror Tram, where you are in your own exclusive vehicle.
Yep.
And you go through the experience that other people are going through, you know, that are just day visitors to Halloween Horror Nights. But then something magical happens. You get off.
You do, and you get your own experience. So you do follow the Terror Tram as such, because everybody does get off the Terror Tram. However, for RIP only guests, you get your own private photo opportunity experience. Last year it was the Black Phone, and you don't even expect it to be happening. You get this own unique experience, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to spoil it because I want to see what they do this year before I kind of give everything away.
This
But it
being,
is
and previously it was Nope.
Yeah.
You also then walk through the lot with the Psycho sets. So you get to walk around the motel and up to Norman Bates' house, which was a really, really cool photo opportunity. We also then went around to Larry Lava's bug thing. There was lots of like outdoor scare zones there. There was more photo opportunities with upcoming movies that they were promoting. And at this point, you can sort of meander. You go to Jupiter's Claim as well from the movie Nope.
But I think what we're trying to say here is that the RIP tour is just a level above what a normal horror night guest would go through,
and you're not rushed through as much. Like you can
No.
pause a little bit more and like take more pictures or take more of the moments in that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do.
And our fantastic tour guide, when we went on the rides, because obviously we incorporate the rides in the tour as well.
100%. So after the Terror Tram, we then went and did a few more houses. As Ben said, we did some more rides, and then you have they booked you in to when they have like the shows. And stuff like that. So we had the reserve seating, which was for the actual horror stunt show, and then there was also the additional show. Now last year it was actually a Megan and Five Nights at Freddy's experience, which was quite cool. Five Nights at Freddy's was upcoming at the time. Megan was obviously this huge box office surprise hit earlier in the year, so we actually got to see that the Megan dancers put on like a little dance show, which was really awesome. And again, we had reserved seating for that. Now, when we come out of there, it was kind of over to you. It was, where do you want to go? And at that point, a few people had already sort of slithered away from other parts of the group, but our group, and there was another few others that stuck with our guide for the whole night. And at this point, it was a thanks. Is there anything else I can do for you? Anything else I can take you to? Otherwise, you're kind of free to go. And at that point, we went back and did a few more of the scare zones, such as the Death Eaters in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and went and did some more re-rides. So in terms of the Halloween Horror Nights RIP Tour at Universal Studios Hollywood, I would say in my summary, it's expensive. It is pricey.
Yes.
And it doesn't include that day ticket, which is a con on that side. But all the rest are pros, from the access, the fast pass, the food buffet, just the experience of having that, like just that knowledge of having someone take you.
I think it's totally worth the money. Again, it is expensive. However, I will never ever look back now. I think it's the only way to do horror nights. If you want to see and do everything and you haven't got a frequent fear pass where you're not going to be going for numerous nights, absolutely do it, especially for international visitors. I think if you are limited to that one day, the only way to do horror nights, in my opinion, is an RIP tour. As I said, I've done horror nights not paying for express, and you queue for hours. I've done it just with a normal express, which is good, but you still have got to, queue more than you would for an RIP tour. And just as Rob said, the level of knowledge that your tour guide will go through. And it's also fun being in a tour group because you kind of bounce off everybody else. It's real horror fans.
And the people that are in the group, if it was just the two of us, we did have a group of 5 of us, but you do chitter-chatter to the other people, and you get to sort of know what they like and their things. And equally, if you don't want to be in the group, you can kind of do your own thing as well. So you don't feel like you've got to be pressured into mingling. But equally, even if you're going on your own, you can make friends with the other people in the group and the tour guide.
Anybody that may be thinking of going to Horror Nights for the first time but isn't quite sure about whether they want to or not, the RIP Tour is actually the best package for them. We had a friend in our party that absolutely hates horror, blood and gore, and we went, why are you going to Horror Nights? And anyway, he came, but the tour guide stayed with him. He decided not to do any of the houses, but still wanted to come and experience Horror Nights, to walk through the scare zones and do the rides and attractions. and he would say, and he'd vouch, that he had a really, really good experience despite not being a horror fan. So for non-horror people that still want to potentially experience a bit of Horror Nights, do the RIP tour.
But disclaimer, you will still have to pay the same amount of money. So
yeah,
that
you don't
person
get
did have
it.
to
You
pay the
don't
same
get any
as us,
discount,
despite them not going in the houses. So just do bear that in mind. But other than that, it was a fantastic experience. I also want to point out as well, Horror Nights is the best time to get some really cool merch. So Ben got this t-shirt from Orlando 22. This is the hoodie from, this is the hoodie from 23, and we actually are burning right now our Never Go Alone candle from last year as well, from the 23 Halloween Horror Nights. So it's really cool now to get out all of our merch. The nights are getting cooler. Yeah, it's pumpkin spice season. So yeah, we hope that this video has been informative and has helped you with your decision making about the RIP tour. There may be things, we've done this video off on a cuff, guys, I'm not gonna lie. So there may be some elements that we've glazed over or we forgot to mention. So if you've got any questions, please pop them in the comments below. We'd be more than happy to look back over emails or videos and footage that we've got to answer.
Because when we were booking it, we really wanted some advice, and it was quite hard to look for advice out there about whether it was worth it or not. So please do ask us if we've missed anything and you want to know anything more. Just drop us a little comment in the comments box below.
As always, if you've liked the video, please hit the like button and please do subscribe. We've just hit 300 subscribers and we really would like to get to 500 before the end of the year. So we'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But other than that,
thank you so much for watching.
Vines on the Tracks.